Hello, everyone. I'm Sarah Carter, along with Tom Shalhoub, Taylor Riggs, and Dr. Mark Siegel. And welcome to the big weekend show. The big story tonight, President Trump has now just landed in Philadelphia, where he'll attend the NCAA Wrestling Championships. Tonight's big event comes after the organization banned biological men in women's sports and the president's executive order on the same issue.
We will not allow men to beat up, injure, and cheat our women and our girls. From now on, women's sports will be only for women.
No. Men should not be, they're hurting women. They're hurting women very badly. They're hurting women. And they should not, and they're also demeaning women.
Your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply, because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good, I'll see you in court.
As you just saw there, the president is putting Maine on notice for violating Title IX, posting on his Truth Social this morning, quote, "We need a full-throttled apology from the governor herself before this case can be settled." He has also frozen $175 million in federal funds to UPenn over letting transgender athletes such as Leah Thomas compete against women. And Americans approve. The latest polls show widespread support for his actions to protect female athletes. Lucas Tomlinson has more from the White House. Lucas?
Well, good evening, Sarah. While much of the sports world is focused on college basketball right now, President Trump is appearing to look at a different sport in March Madness, and that one takes place on the mat.
These are the great college wrestlers from the various schools. I think Penn State is leading, and Nebraska's in second place right now, and a lot of good things.
And after that spat with Maine's governor over boys playing with girls' sports and federal funding, Trump posting on Truth Social earlier played part of it. I'll just read some more. "We need a full-throated apology from the governor herself, and a statement that she will never make such an unlawful challenge to the federal government again before this case can be settled. I'm sure she'll be able to do that quite easily. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and make America great again, DJT." You may recall this spat in the White House last month between Maine's governor and President Trump.
Is the Maine here, the governor of Maine?
Well, I'm here.
Are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
Well, we are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it, because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't.
Something else that has irked President Trump, Tesla dealerships continue to come under attack, with vandals setting Teslas on fire across the country, drawing a lot of protesters, as you see here. Trump's attorney general says these crimes are being investigated as domestic terrorism. And just a few hours ago, the Pentagon announced it's sending a second guided missile destroyer to patrol the waters of the southern border. This one didn't have to go far. The USS Spruance put to sea this morning from San Diego. Sarah?
Yeah, thank you so much, Lucas. I mean, look, we have Governor Janet Mills, Taylor. I mean, threatening President Trump. President Trump saying, look, you want money? You're going to get it from us when you comply with the feds, right? Yeah. I mean, as a mom, I'm a mom.
Ooh,
I'm excited about this. I love the fact that our young girls are being protected now.
So, yeah, you hit a sore spot, right? I have an 18-month-old daughter at home, and I think I always cared about this issue, but when you finally have a daughter, you realize how important it is to make sure that she's safe. I love the quote from Rahm Emanuel, the former mayor of Chicago, and a left-leaning guy, to say the least, where he said, if I was told in 7th grade that I could have been labeled a they and gone into the girls' bathroom, I would have done it. So for me, that's sort of the issue, too, right? Where you hope that if you're transgender, whatever it is, 0.01%, Dr. Siegel, you would know more, that they are thinking the right way and how they do this. But I'm worried about everyone else who's just trying to sneak into the girls' bathroom, let alone the sports issue and just the clear, for me, biological advantage that they have.
Well, and then the scientific perspective on this. I mean, as a doctor, I mean, there's this huge debate. I mean, people should be able to say whether or not that is a male with, born a male, as a female, born a female. And we want to protect our daughters, and we want to give them a fair advantage out on the playing field. I mean, that's the big thing here too, right?
I want to start with that, by the way, because Taylor and I were talking before about marathon running. My daughter's running marathons. She's run a ton of marathons. Last thing I want is her beaten by somebody that's not a woman, saying that they're a woman, or maybe they are technically on some respects, but they have a competitive advantage. And that's my point. You know, even if you get rid of testosterone, your muscles are still built up. And your body is different, and your skeleton is different, and you have a competitive advantage. Now, President Trump's talking about wrestling. In that case, you have more than a competitive advantage. You can beat somebody up. And that's the second thing. And then the third thing Taylor brought up is, what about the bathrooms? What about privacy? I also want to point out one more thing.
I worry about that every day.
For our children.
Yeah.
For our children.
I worry about it every day with my child.
I love that President Trump is attending these sporting events, that he went to the Super Bowl, that he went to the Daytona 500, that he's been involved with NCAA sports forever. He's not doing this for political reasons. It should bring the country together.
Well, I mean, and that's his audience. This is America. This is what the American people want. I'm just looking at this, Tom, right here. 68% are in favor of banning trans in women's sports. 68% of Americans, with only 30% opposing. So, I mean, right there.
And it's interesting. That's where the narrative is now. But when you look back how far it's come, 2015, Republicans were saying, do not get in fights over bathrooms. That is not what we want to do, because if one state even passed a law about, restrooms or changing rooms or anything like that, they would get a boycott, and then the advertisers pull out, and then they were going to lose sports and things like that. The narrative changed because people started thinking about this, and people like Riley Gaines, at first people say, yeah, I guess fairness, I guess, sexual identity, fairness. They just kind of didn't think of it.
Well, they forgot about Riley Gaines, and I had Riley Gaines on my podcast. I love her. She's wonderful. She's a real example for young women in America.
And she had to step up, though.
Right.
When she came out there, she was in the wilderness all by herself, and other people saying, you're going to get in trouble with this. And she did get in trouble, but then other people joined her, and now she is a force, and she is leading the parade, and people are saying, oh my gosh, how did we not see this?
A chorus of American women and families fighting for their children. And you brought up a very good point. I mean, we have seen so many horrific stories where, especially with young children, we don't even want to let them go to the bathroom alone anymore. People are just, even if you have a teenage daughter, you want to go with her because we were so worried. I mean, as a mom, when you think of your child going to school, your child is going to have an advantage now. Your daughter will because of this.
I'm glad that you brought up the school issue, because what I want the narrative to be focused on, especially when it comes to schools and sports and bathrooms, let's get back to math and reading. That's what I want. Our kids are failing. I need math. I need reading. I need rigorous scientific study. That's what I want. I don't want this narrative to be all about the bathrooms when we're failing against China and Russia in coding and robotics and everything else. So if you come to me about schools, let's talk about that.
Some states, rural states, kids are at 30% of their math and reading levels. By the way, one more thing about competitive advantage I want to say. Let's bring back the Barry Bonds era here. Even the left was outraged.
But I'm for Giants.
You're taking steroids. Let's ban.
Well, we have a Giants fan here. Well, and you know what? And the Department of Education. Well, and the Department of Education is another very important point that President Trump is trying to fix on that, too.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.